Okay, I have an idea for a new pharmacy mascot. Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Subliteral Network. I make art and comics, and thanks for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and to leave your feedback in the comments. I post art daily, 5 days a week on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and this is a roundup of that work in case you missed it, with a little more detailed description added. You can read my Uno the Kibane comics free at radiocomics.com, and please watch for my one-shot comic called Searchers, coming September 18th at burningstarcomics.net. Please visit my Patreon page if you'd like to support my work. All these links are in my description and bio, and please watch till the end so you don't miss anything. You may have heard of a great French comic named Torpedo, drawn by Jordi Bernet, who, well, I love the way he works, and I've seen videos of him drawing, and he's drawing with like ink pens and brushwork, and I've always loved that, even though I pretty much abandoned using ink pens and brushes these days. I love the fact that he can just be so fast and so accurate and so expressive with that. So I got out my fountain pens and my Japanese brushes, and just decided I'm going to go back to the way I used to do it, old school, and kind of do a little Jordi Bernet homage. And it's a little sloppy and rough, but that's sort of what informs the line, is that it's not 100% slick and smooth. And I don't think this is like a great drawing, but I really feel like it has kind of a lot of heart and a lot of movement and action and liveliness to it, which is something you get with a brush. It's hard to get with pens and pigment liners and more rigid tools like that. I've come to the conclusion that I should just do more of this, whether it comes out looking exactly like Jordi Bernet's work or not, just because it just feels so nice to get your arm and wrist and hand going. It really loosens you up, and I think that quality, I want to get that loose quality transferred into the work that I'm doing. Here's another one of the little Sharpie sketch cards that I've drawn. This is this is how big they are, but you can see that they're pretty small, 2.5 by 3.5 inches. This is Red Sonja in Sharpies and color Sharpies, and I drew her with these like giant basketballs, just because I could, because I had this sketch card and I wanted to draw something on it, and that's what I ended up drawing. Now that I think of it, Sonja has had a number of different costumes over the years, and most of those were at Marvel Comics. She had on, Barry Windsor Smith had her in a pair of shorts and a chainmail belly shirt, if you can imagine that, and later on she wore kind of a leather thing with some shoulder armor. And I got a feeling, just like with Adela the Head Witch that I was doing drawings of, I might do that with Sonja as time goes by. Just to pick out, Art Adams did some really cool versions of Sonja. Most of them that you see in his ink drawings, his ink illustrations, are variations on the chainmail bikini. But in the Conan series, when Sonja would appear, he'd draw her in this kind of leather sort of jumpsuit with no legs or something like that. And that was actually kind of cool. I think it could have used a little more armor, but I still kind of like the departure. Sonja, she could easily wear regular clothes if they were well designed. It's kind of a cross between armor and leather, and just sort of made to look cool while still making her look attractive. But not enough work has been done. I think Art Adams did the most on that, but I think artists could really take a real redesigning hand to her and give her something that harkens back to her chainmail past, but kind of something more wearable, something more practical, something a little, still with that kind of Hyborian age kind of edge to it, with a lot of skin. A departure from the chainmail bikini, but not to some dopey something or other that's just stupid. You know, you got to get somebody in there who can really do a real cool redesign. I think with a lot more leather, and it's just sort of something that looks more like clothing and not like a bikini. It's the Hyborian age, but I find that people have very little imagination when they're designing what characters in that era wear. During those days when John Buscema was drawing Conan, he's the artist who drew Conan for the most issues ever. He got stuck into a rut too of drawing people into kind of a fake Middle Eastern kind of clothing. You know, the pointed shoes, the robes, and that sort of thing that he had always put every female character in. Kind of a bikini top with kind of a flowing sort of loincloth on the bottom. And he was, you know, I don't think that his imagination was going, whatever his imagination was going into, it was not into costume design. And I think that's something when you're doing a fantasy, a barbarian strip, is really important. I would occasionally buy like Betty and Veronica and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. In the Sabrina comics, her superior, apparently, the Della the Head Witch, was in charge of all the witches, and she would show up and correct Sabrina's behavior to be more witch-like. And she had a bunch of different outfits that they would put her in. Like, she wasn't like an old snaggletooth witch. She was hot, and she wore like leotards and a cape and tights and stuff, and she looked kind of more, you know, a lot more like maybe the Scarlet Witch or like a superheroine. But she had a bunch of outfits, one after another. They would just put her in these different clothes. There's like a dozen or maybe 20 of them. So I'm going to really try to go through them. I've done a couple of sketch card sizes of them, and this is the first larger piece of art I'm going to do. So you're looking at the pencil version of that. Here's another one of my page breaks, which I would put in my Una the Cave Bunny comic strips when I was missing a week or when I was kind of behind and late on my deadlines. This is Pala, who was, in childhood, she was one of Una's friends, and later on they became rivals and kind of more or less enemies. And so she's got the kind of the same strength level as Una. They're both very strong, but while Una has kind of a nice and sweet nature, Paula does not have that at all. So as I've said before, I wanted these page breaks to be something other than just, you know, when you're reading a webcomic, you don't want to just go to a blank page. It's just disappointing to see nothing at all. So I decided I'm going to do some nice little kind of graphic layouts with a character and a little information. Something that was more or less kind of as good as a page, and not just sort of demonstrating the fact that I couldn't make my deadline. I ended up liking Paula's color scheme a lot. When I was designing the characters in their clothes, I realized that they'd mostly be in these jungle environments. So I had this green in the background. I didn't necessarily want browns and greens on their costumes and looks. So I'm purposely trying to contrast with what I know it's going to have to look like. I want the characters to stand out from that. If you've watched my videos before, you've seen me, I have all these drawings that I've done on paper bags, because I used to work at a job that was throwing out boxes of these bags because they got like a new stock or a new brand in there. So I spent a lot of time just drawing and doodling and sketching on them. Haven't done it for a while, but I went to CVS and I came home with something in their bag, and I said, you know what, I just had this idea, and I just sort of threw this nurse with a giant hypodermic on it. Boy, is that fun to do. It's a ballpoint white china crayon, and one of those, oh, okay, here they are, these things. They are these pencils from Japan. Okay, here they are. They're red on one side and Prussian blue on the other, and I've seen manga artists do sketching with them, and I got a box of them, and now I'm using them up like mad, you know, on lots of different things. I'd like to thank you, my subscribers, and especially my new subscribers. I'm very happy you enjoy hearing something more about the work that I'm doing, and I hope the videos are entertaining and I really hope you can come back for more.